Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, Dead Man's Wire. I don't know if I knew about this before Tuesday. Maybe I did, but star-studded, as my wife would say. Bill Skarsgård, Darcy Montgomery, Stranger Things, Al Pacino, Coleman Domingo is in it. Carrie Ills is in it. A lot of good people in this movie, and it is rated 6.7 on IMDb. 2,890 people rated it so far. Takes place on February 8th. If you follow me on Tuesday, that's an important day, February 8th. Tony Crisis, or whatever his name is, entered in the office of Richard Hall, president of the Meridian Mortgage Company, and took him hostage with a sawed-off shotgun wired with a dead man's wire from the trigger to Tony's own neck. So it looks like he, I don't know, did something like that. I don't know. I'm assuming this is all based on a true story. Sounds too much. Gus Van Sant is the director. This is a dark comedy, docudrama, period drama, true crime, biography, crime, drama, history. So I'm excited. It's rated pretty high, and I wasn't prepared to see it, so I'm excited. Stick around. I'll let you know what I think. Hey everybody, got the credits of Dead Man's Wire, and I apologize first of all because I realized I pronounced Billy's names wrong. Billy from Stranger Things. It's Dacre. I think I called him Darcy. Sorry, Dacre. Montgomery. Because and reason I say that is because he was phenomenal in this. Right? I know him mainly as Billy. In the interviews he's done, I think he's done Power Rangers, which kind of you could see, right? You could see some of that. This is completely different. He's the president of the bank. His dad is Al Pacino, who seems like he's the owner of the bank. But he's a kid who's grown up with a silver spoon in his mouth, was given his position, and that kind of thing. But he's the one being held hostage by Bill Skarsgård's character. So Bill Skarsgård bought a plot of land and was going to have a supermarket put on it. But then, according to him, the bank or the mortgage company, I called the bank, I guess the mortgage company, sorry, um, had a different piece of land and directed the shopping center to somewhere else so that he couldn't get money and he still had to pay, on his mortgage for that land. And so he thinks it was done, criminally. And so that's why he goes down to the bank to actually get Al Pacino, who's the owner of the mortgage company, but he's in Florida vacationing, so he gets um, Dacre, and so Dacre's character, and brings him back to his home, and he has like this kind of trigger, like where it's tied to his neck, both necks, and the gun's in between them. I don't know, right? But that's the dead man's trigger, so that if anybody were to do anything, the gun would go off and would shoot the our character here, and so and the one thing, like I said, he goes down to the mortgage company and then takes him back to his apartment and holds him hostage for multiple days, and then that's where most of the movie takes part, where they're trying to negotiate with him. He wants $5 million in an apology um, from them, and Al Pacino, the father of all this, doesn't could care less, like whatever, right? Meanwhile, this other, the president Baker is being held captive, his family, all that stuff. You know what I mean? And Bill Skarsgård is like playing like this crazy guy. And then so you think about it, and one of the things I love about movies about true stories is the ending, like where they show the words, what really happened to him, and then video coverage. And they actually show the video coverage of him like leaving the mortgage company, going down the street with him in the press conference, which I was thinking was embellished. It is not like he has him in a press conference with the gun on him, talking like he does in the movie. So I was like, wow, he was just off his rocker. But I think the whole point of the film is like standing up to these big corporations that do what they want with the money they got, and to make more and more money. That was the whole point, right? Like you saying, hey, this mortgage company for their own thing, redirected it, caused him all this, right? And that happens everywhere. And this is one case in 1977 where he stood up and hopefully, you know, stuck it to the man, as they say, is what the whole point of this is, right? So wow, there's a lot of good elements to this. That whole piece, the whole plot of the movie. Um, the acting it's far and above everything else. Um, Baker was like hunched over almost the entire movie, and you can't recognize him. I know that's how I started this whole blabbing here, but it was really like he just looks completely different. He's got a different haircut. Looks like a president of a mortgage company or a banking company or something like that, and does a great job. I think he's phenomenal in this. And Bill Skarsgård's good, but I mean, he was um, what's his name? It, right? So I forgot the clown's name. Whatever, you know who I mean. But he's good too. But Baker takes the cake. So there's good elements to it, but it also feels like dry and slow. When they're, in that whole piece where he's kidnapped for multiple days, there's not a lot to it, and I found myself bored and going to my phone when I shouldn't have been. It caused me to rewind a couple times. Um, but that's the only piece I didn't really like about it was it just felt like at that point slow, and I just want to see what's going on. But you got to put a lot out there to get an hour and 45-minute movie. So that's what we got. All right, there you go. A little under the radar. Maybe you've heard of this, maybe you didn't. But check it out if you want to see Billy acting again, and he's really good. And see somebody stick it to the man. All right, that's it. And see, like, there's so much more to that I didn't share. Um, like how really Bill Skarsgård's guy was really out there, and you'll see not just from that, but like what happens afterwards, the words on the screen and all that kind of stuff. Just wow, crazy. So I will say that I'm going to say that real quick, but if you haven't seen it yet, thanks for tuning in. If not, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. The guy stayed 8 extra years in a psychiatric home because he didn't want to sign the paper to admit like he needed psychiatric help. He got found innocent based on insanity, and then got 2 years, and he stayed there for 10 years. He stayed in there, just because he didn't want to sign a paper. That's just crazy, right? So, wow, there you go. I mean, to think that this guy even thought he was going to get away with all that. I mean, maybe in 1977, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Not even then. All right, that's it. I had to say that. Thanks for tuning in. Kills Irish Pub.